much else. Get our favorite plays on the totals, sides, props, exotics, and futures to jump on now. So let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Subject custom quiere con su papa con su felino. Let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Let's get it started with Jason and
Hey, it is Jason. It is Ben, and it is a PLL Friday here on Wanna Bet. We're excited to jump into some lacrosse handicapping, although it's really not jumping in because Butway Ben and I have been in the lab studying some of the PLL trends, looking at what's been going on there the first 3 weeks of the season. And now that it is in our backyard in Baltimore at Homewood Field on the campus of Johns Hopkins University, where I've frankly spent a lot of time because I grew up going to lacrosse camps there and going to swimming camps there, and my kids go to baseball camps there, and it's about 5 minutes from my house. And when I was a kid, it was the best college program in the country, bar none. And my wife has her master's from Hopkins. So, yeah, we are fired up to jump in and handicap some PLL, as well as looking ahead to the NBA Finals and what we know will be the final game of the year. We've got MLB plays we like. I continue to play the Gold Cup and really like some of the matches coming up this weekend. So we've got a lot to get to here, Beltway Ben. Last night for me, I got to admit, it's the first really bad night I've had in the 3 weeks we've done this show. I caught some really bad breaks there on the Haiti match against Trinidad and Tobago. A goal called back on offside that I thought was very, very close. A penalty kick not awarded, even though an attacker was thrown to the ground from behind in the box, and every commentator on that match in studio and the analyst Maurice Edu, go Terps, on the broadcast thought it was absolutely a penalty kick and maybe a red card. Instead, they rescind the yellow. Haiti picks up a straight red. Haiti misses a PK late in that game. That was tough. And that NBA game, Ben, I think it got a lot of people, right? It was, hey, sometimes Vegas is just going to crush. And Vegas crushed, and the NBA's got to be thrilled that there's going to be a 7-game finals.
Yeah, first since 2016 when, of course, Kyrie hit the big three. But, like, when you sports bet, like, you have to understand, like, sometimes it comes with losing. But, like, last night really frustrates me because in Game 6 of the NBA Finals, we shouldn't have to worry about player props not hitting because starters didn't play in the fourth quarter. In Game 6 of the NBA Finals, like, I don't know, that was just pretty frustrating. A team goes down 30 on the road again. I did think that the Pacers had a shot coming into this, even with the Halliburton news. And everybody's, like, running to place Halliburton unders. Like, that's exactly what Vegas wants you to do. So I just stayed away from his prop, but he had a solid showing. But just, again, like, it was disgusting from the Thunder, to be quite honest with you. You don't have a starter play in the fourth quarter. SGA never looked good. Jalen Williams had 1 assist. Like, just every way you look at that game, it was embarrassing. And again, I'm not going away from the Thunder in Game 7. I think they closed it out. But in no world should we have Game 7 of an NBA Finals, a 30-point game heading into the fourth quarter. And I got to credit Indiana. They played awesome. They did well. They did the things they were supposed to do. But, like, OKC, I just don't understand what was that. Like, there were two right to start the third quarter, right? They have an awful run in the second quarter. They played terrible basketball. To start the second half, there was probably 2 points scored in the first 4 minutes and 15 seconds. Like,
that's crazy.
How coming and SGA taking 1 shot, because I'm sitting there watching and I'm like, the best player on the court right now is taking 1 shot. Like, we're gonna try to get him involved? We're gonna try to get him to the free throw line? Oh no, let's let someone else shoot. Oh no, let's let other people chuck threes. Like, I don't know. It felt like once the adversity hit, OKC was fine punting. Even with their starters on the court when they had him out there, they were fine punting and saying, we're going to try to get it done at home.
Yeah. I really don't know what to say. It's at 35-34, and I'm thinking the Thunder might take this thing over, and then the Thunder were stuck on 35 points forever. I mean, you watched this series, and you knew that OKC is not the same on the road as at home, especially against Indiana. But to have a game earlier in the series where you made 2 of your first 16 threes and then come out with a chance to put a team away and make 1 of your first 16, like I kind of thought that was a blip the first time. It obviously wasn't. I want to do some more work on that game. I do have some things that I'm on, and some trends and some bets that I'm probably going to lean into, but I want to take a little bit more time and crunch some numbers and just let my, kind of marinate on that game before I sort of get into some of my plays there. So yeah, we get a 7th game, and hey, that's a great thing. One more chance to cap the NBA. Something I've really loved doing and have been very profitable at this season. So we do have some things to get to there. And we've got some bets to make now, Beltway Ben. First down, what are you looking at?
Yeah, speaking of the NBA, we're going to go there, and I'm just getting it now. I'm getting it out of the way. You guys know how much I love my SGA points, Thunder money line parlays, which I think for 2 and 3, or 2 and 1. We've hit 2 out of 3 in this series. When you look at the 2 games they've lost, or the 3 games they've lost, right? Game 1 was the anomaly. That was a weird game. OKC still should have won that game. I'm standing by that. They let their kind of foot slip off the gas late, scores 38, whatever. But the next 2, both on the road, 24 points and 21. And in both of those games, watching SGA, like, I don't know, man, what's going on? Last game, he shot 15 shots. Again, no fourth quarter. I understand that. But 15 shots, I don't know that that's the way they can go about it. And he played 31 minutes still. Like, if he played 31 minutes during the regular season, I'm pretty confident he's still shooting 20-plus shots. But I just don't know how they lose this game. Game 6, again, like, as frustrated as I am, it happens. You're kind of off. And if you want to punt early, get guys rested, and then give them the go for Game 7, that's what's going to happen. They've been much better at home just like him. And he scored 30-plus points in every home game in this series. I don't see him going under it. To win, I think he's going to have to go over it. He's played 40-plus minutes in 3 games this series. I think we could see it again here. I know Dagnall's been trying to kind of cut his minutes a little bit to give him a little bit more rest, but I think he's going to score 30-plus points, and I think the Thunder will win on the money line. It would not surprise me if by Saturday this is up to minus 140. Like, this is going to trickle up, in my opinion, because I just don't see how the number moves in favor of the Pacers, and I also don't see how SGA's point total gets any worse. Right? This was minus 190 this morning. It's got to change a lot in the favor of that.
Yeah, I said I'm not making any plays myself yet, but I am going to sprinkle my small dog Copper, aka Chopper. I'm going to sprinkle on that because it is going to move. And I will say this: if OKC loses this series, I think we're going to look back and say there was never a consistent Robin to SGA's Batman. Like, there was never, you know what I mean? Holmgren in the first half of some games. Like, obviously we saw what happened with, Williams going for a 40 the other night. But, like, then he disappears. Like, yep. Dort doesn't shoot the ball at all on the road, is pretty good at home. I thought Caruso might prove to be a glue guy. No, he's been utterly inconsistent, even turning the ball over. Like, there really hasn't been that number 2 scoring option who you could count on every game for 20 plus. Like, right? Like, that guy doesn't exist.
No. And to your point, like, coming into the series, what I say, when you look at this matchup, Indiana's built off all this depth, and OKC is as well, but OKC is way more talented. Because to me, coming into this, something Caruso gives you more than McConnell does. And I know what McConnell can do. That hasn't been the case here. McConnell's giving you much more productive minutes than Caruso in that role. So, again, when you look at the depth, like, the bench for Indiana is just changing everything.
One crazy stat: OKC in the road games in the finals in the first half, 25.8% from 3. This is the NBA, folks. That should, like that happens in the MEAC. I can live with it. You know what I mean? But this is OKC. People telling me the best team in NBA history, if you look at efficiencies and all this stuff. They go to Indiana 3 times, and they shoot 26% from 3 in the first half of those games. Now,
and look at their assist.
It is 41% at home in this series. It is 41%.
Look at their assist numbers,
though. Half in this series.
Look at their assist numbers, though. Like, they had like 4 assists in the third quarter yesterday as a team. It's bizarre.
Yeah, it's bad. All right, my first down, Beltway Ben. I'm going to MLB. I texted you last night. I was walking the dogs around 6 o'clock, and I kept checking the lines as I was walking the dogs because I wanted to jump this early. And if you check out the Discord that we're in with Eric Casillas, you can go to my Twitter. It's right in my feed there. I played it in real life at 105. I put it on the Discord at 105. It's now at plus 100. And I'm surprised you can still get plus money on this. Frankly, it's Kershaw against Gore. And I get it. Kershaw's not Kershaw anymore. But like Kershaw's last 4 starts, he's only had 5 earned runs allowed. He's got an ERA of 2.08 in that span. We're looking at a Dodgers team that started to get it going. They had won 8 of 10 going into last night. They're starting to cover on the run line at home like we think they would. The Nats finally won a game for the first time in 2 weeks yesterday, Beltway Ben. It took, the one dude they have going right now. It took James Wood, hitting a game-winning home run after they couldn't score more than 3 runs again most of that game. Like you go back before they barely beat the Rockies yesterday, and they've scored 37 runs in their last 12 games, have the Nats. Like, so you do the math on that. Mackenzie Gore on the road, Beltway Ben, 3.5 ERA. League batting 283 off him when he's on the road. And the whip really elevates. A 1.4 whip. Check out these numbers. At home, he's allowed 28 hits and 43 2/3 innings. On the road, 49 hits and 43 2/3 innings. So I'm leaning into that. It's not a huge sample size, but the Dodgers know him from when he was a young pitcher with the Padres before the trade. Like, you look at Teoscar, you look at Betts, you look at Freeman. They've got pretty good numbers against him. Again, small sample size. And if they can just run up the pitch count, Ben, we're talking about a Nats team with a 6 ERA in the bullpen, worse than the National League. So I think the Dodgers are getting hot. I think the Dodgers know. Remember, the Nats took 2 or 3 from the Dodgers in Washington. So Davey's got all he's got to do is show the box scores from those games and say, hey, if we're not up to play, these guys might beat us again. I don't care that they've only won once in 2 weeks. So that's where I'm going. All right, second down. What you got, Ben?
Yeah, second down. I don't have a graphic here, but I'll repeat it a couple times. We're going to go with Pete Crow Armstrong over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs at minus 145. Again, Pete Crow Armstrong of the Chicago Cubs, minus 145, over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. And you just look at what this kid's doing. And again, the Mets are just going to keep. Yeah, the Mets are just going to keep looking back at that Javi Baez trade that netted them nothing. They didn't even make the playoffs out of it. But again, the Cubs get Pete Crow Armstrong, who has been mashing baseball against right-handed pitching. 304, 345, 613 slash line. And he's doing damage at home at Wrigley Field. 287, 333, 544. One thing that stands out there when you look at what's going on at Wrigley, the weather plays a massive role in games. Totals there. Every day it's something, whether the weather's blowing in hardcore and it's a good way to play the under, or whether it's blowing out. Today is one of the days where it's blowing out, and we see a lot of looking at numbers like with days with this exact weather at Wrigley, the numbers are way over. I mean, I know he's facing a George Kirby who, when he immediately came back, had struggled, and you see that 5.96 ERA, but he has slowly started to settle down, and I do think he's trending in the right direction. But still, lefties are slashing 333, 382, 571 against him. And you're giving me wind, and you're also giving me Pete Crow Armstrong in a 4 spot with guys like Seiya Suzuki, Kyle Tucker, Ian Happ. Like, this lineup is dangerous, and you have him. Like, I just think this is at minus 145, given the weather. Pretty good play for me. So I'm going to go with Pete Crow Armstrong of the Chicago Cubs over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs at minus 145. Love
it. Yeah, PCA for MVP. Second down, I'm going back to the Gold Cup. Rough night for me in the Gold Cup last night. I mean, again, that Haiti, it's crazy they didn't win that match, but that's CONCACAF for you. I thought Saudi Arabia would show a little bit more on the counterattack and maybe at least try to penetrate a U.S. defense that really was asking for it. I mean, moving Freeman inside as a central defender, I thought would be a problem. It was. Saudi Arabia didn't take advantage. So rough night for us in the Gold Cup, but I really like Panama here. Again, I'm going to tell you, I put this on the Discord. I played this myself 2 days ago. I got it at minus 115. That I gave Ben this bet yesterday so we could build the graphic at minus 140. It's gone. Good luck finding Panama right now as we do this at 12:23 Eastern time on Friday afternoon. Try finding it anywhere other than minus 160. I don't think you can. I couldn't right before we came on the show. Why do I like Panama? Well, they just ran the table in the latest round of CONCACAF World Cup qualifying. They won all 4 matches. They did it by a combined score of 10-1. They've been burying teams early, and this is a Guatemala team that is going to want to sit back. They're going to want to bunker. Like, I think they're going to try to get a point here. Panama, though, again, just if you've seen their recent play, they're scoring in the first 15 minutes of matches with pretty alarming regularity. And they just look, Guadalupe is not as good as Guatemala. I understand that. But they just sucked the life out of that match in the first 20 minutes. And if you were on Panama, they cast for you almost before you had a chance to sip a beer. Is that going to go this way tonight? I'm not guaranteeing it, but it wouldn't shock me if Panama scored early in this match. Panama scored in 9 straight matches. They've got a 10-2 goal differential in their last 3 matches. They've got more attacking options. They are the better team. You've seen, I just chronicled the way the line's sort of been moving. It's fine with me. I got in this early, but it's certainly been money coming in on Panama. They've got a chance here to pretty much secure themselves qualification through the group stage into the knockout stage. I expect them to take advantage of that tonight. All right, third down, Beltway Ben.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with the MLB here, and I'm going to go with Aaron Judge over 1.5 total bases. And I was looking at his hits, runs, and RBIs, and the number was kind of big. And get it. I get it. I know what struggles Judge has had, but this matchup for him favors well, right? Tomo Sagano, who not many more people were higher on Sagano coming into the season than I was, but like when you look at the numbers, righties are slashing 270, 315, 421 against him. Judge was 2 for 3 against him the last time they faced off. And I just look at, like, on the road, he's been better than at home for Sagano, but I do think that he's in a little bit of trouble tonight against the Yankees lineup that probably needs to see somebody that isn't really blowing them away, right? Like, Sagano he's command and he's here, but he does miss, right? He missed to Trout, and we saw Trout demolish a baseball. Aaron Judge is one of the game's best as well. We know what he can do. In New York, it might be tough for Sagano to adjust. First outing in New York, in the Bronx, it's a tough stadium to pitch in. And again, Judge is not hitting the ball well right now, right? We've seen his numbers fall in a major way. In the last 7 days, he's got 3 hits and 26 at-bats. That's not good, but this is also a guy who is on a long list of dudes who, when the Orioles match up against them, fire away, right? There's been a number of guys, Devers when he was with the Red Sox, which we'll get to in a little bit, but like there are a number of guys that when they face the Orioles always do damage. And Judge probably has great career numbers against every single person. But when you look at what he's done against the Orioles this year, 7 for 11, like that's crazy. He's made 4 outs in 11 at-bats against the Orioles this year, and he's got 2 home runs. Might see one tonight. He's due. But I do think if we don't get that, we'll get 2 base hits, a double, whatever it is. I think he does match up well with Sagano tonight.
Yeah, I have a play on that game up on our Discord, and I'll just say it correlates to the way you're seeing it. Third down for me. I'm staying in the Gold Cup. I think Canada wins this match tonight over a Curacao team that's being asked to take a major jump up in weight class. Now, Canada obviously destroyed Honduras 6-0. I don't know that we're going to get that, because I think Jesse March will call off the Dogs way before that. And if this thing gets to 3-0 and they're sitting atop the group on a +9 goal differential, then I don't think they're necessarily out for blood in this one. They also don't have a history with Curacao like they do with Honduras. Honduras is a country that's kept Canada from advancing in the past. They've played some pivotal matches in World Cup qualifying. And I think Jesse March was sending a signal. The Canada coach, who was not allowed to coach that game. He was on a suspension. He was up in a suite. Now he might have violated some other rules. So now Jesse Marsh, that suspension might get extended. But I think he likes being the heel. I think he was sending a message to the people who were watching that match in Vancouver, all of Canada, and to the U.S. and Mexico, that anything you can do, we can do better. But that's against Honduras, a much more established CONCACAF nation. I don't know that he needs to embarrass and run it up on Curacao. But like Curacao they don't play anybody. If you just look at their World Cup qualifying form, it flatters them because of the caliber of opponent that they're playing. This is not a country that's even played friendlies in the last 2 or 3 years against anybody who's anywhere close to the stature and depth and quality of Canada right now. Look, I've sprinkled on Canada to win this match, though, +400. to win the match by 4 or more goals. There's just so many attacking options. They can score off the run of play individually. They can score from the run of play through buildup. They can score with size and dexterity and determination on set pieces. Like, they score with their head, they score with their feet, they score outside the box. They are really in form right now. And so it wouldn't surprise me if this got pretty lopsided, but my favorite play is Canada win this by at least 2 goals. 4th and long. And we've been waiting a long time to talk about this, Ben, because you and I, throughout the course of our chats on the radio show we do together and through our text and whatever, you know me, I was saying back in March and February that Devers is going to be traded by the deadline and maybe by July 4th, because as someone who's covered professional sports and been in locker rooms since I was 18 years old and I'm 50 now, you get spidey senses. And mine were telling me that this marriage was headed for a divorce. But it is pretty rich that Devers gets to face the Red Sox. Like, he gets traded to the Giants, who don't play the Red Sox all that often. And now Devers gets to face them in his second series with the Giants. It is sometimes truth is greater than fiction. Because this is so high profile, there's a lot of different props available, series props. What stands out to you in these markets, Beltway Ben?
Yeah, we'll look at, like, immediately when I saw the prop sent it to you, just because it's fun. Rafael Devers, you can take him 1+ home run at +145, 2+ +400 and some, and then 3+ a lot more. But I will be going with Meatball here. Like, I just think this does happen this weekend, right? And I don't want to get to the trade because I've been holding this one in for a while. I just think it's as dumb as it gets, right? And it reminds me a lot of Luka. And you want to look at it in the way of they needed to move on. He was a selfish player, whatever. But you didn't put him on the market. You didn't net the most that you could. You get back Jordan Hicks. I'm a fan of Jordan Hicks, right? Type 1 diabetic, just like myself. Jordan Hicks hasn't been able to figure it out as a starter. Maybe they try to put him in a relief role, but I don't know. Kyle Harrison, 3-pitch mix, lefty. Like, they might – some scouts have been saying, well, they think they can get more out of him. That's fine. James Tibbs, solid bat from FSU, right? Competitive balance pick. That could be good. And then Bayo is probably a lottery ticket. That's what you net for your top guy, your aircraft carrier, the guy that you want up in every big moment. And you can look at every single aspect of what he did for the Red Sox. They just swept the Yankees, to which he hit a massive home run against Max Fried, who nobody's really been able to do against. He always has showed up against the Yankees, and he always has showed up in the playoffs the 3 times they played in it. 26 games in the postseason. He's hitting .303, 27 hits, 8 home runs, 26 RBIs. Like, this dude showed up in the big moment. He helped them win a World Series in 2018. He's tied for 3rd in RBIs in the MLB. That's the net return. Like, I don't understand why that's how it was done. And the sources say, well, the team was feeling that the $313.5 million contract comes with responsibilities, and they didn't feel that he lived up to those responsibilities to do what's right for the team. That's fine.
He's there to hit the baseball. He's there to hit the baseball.
Absolutely. I fully agree that if I'm being paid $313.5 million, I'm going to do what the team asks me. That's just me. That's how things are. But we're hearing all this stuff, that what the Red Sox did and how they did this. Devers' camp has been relatively quiet about, the conversations. The Red Sox are putting out, they didn't force him to do this. They didn't promise him anything. They keep putting out these statements to feel like they're trying to make everybody okay the trade. And it's pretty telling that he sits down in his presser with the Giants and immediately says, I'm willing to play wherever I need to for this team to win. Like, that stuck out to me. The way that the players talk, none of the players were really upset with the front office, but they also didn't take many shots at Rafael Devers. So I think the players kind of understood what was going on there. And again, this is a kid that you brought up and you figured out. He's not a kid anymore, 27 years old, but like, you developed him into this, and it's just another Mookie Betts situation. You let Xander Bogaerts walk at the right time. It looks like that pretty clear. But you trade Mookie Betts, and Wong is what you have out of that. Like, Wong is the last. Like, I can't get behind them trading Devers and the way they did it. If they trade him, I might disagree. Why trade your best player, but you netted a big return? This, I don't get it. It just reminds me of Luka, except Luka brought back an All-NBA player. This brought back, like, a lottery ticket, something that you're going to try to turn into something. And again, 5 years from now, if Kyle Harrison turns into one of the top lefties in the league, things have changed. But I don't see that happening. And you traded away a guy who showed up in the big moment, always against your rival. And it comes right off of a sweep when the whole fan base was completely out on Craig Breslow. Off season, he gets Bregman, he gets Crochet. Now they're starting to be in a little bit. And then you do this. Like, I just feel bad for Red Sox fans because it's not right.
Yeah. This is what these front offices believe in. It's math over people. It's calculators, Uber Alice. It's not working too well for a lot of those front offices. I'm going to have to punt on this. I'm sorry to put Adam Gase on everybody's Twitter feed here. This is the perpetual punter, Adam Gase. I just have not had. We talk about self-scouting and betting smarter and like evaluating yourself. I've just had terrible luck on a lot of baseball player props, and so you try to work smarter, not work harder. And I still dig in on them a little bit, but it's just not going. It's just not going so well for me. So I'm going to sit that out and root for you and root for Devers, Beltway Ben, but I'm not going to dip into my betting budget on that one. It's a new ballpark. I think he'll be fine in that ballpark, but I'm just going to sit and watch that one. Which brings us to overtime, a very special overtime. Our friends at the PLL. I'm rocking my son Mateo's Denver Outlaws jersey right now, Ben. This was a Christmas present from a few years ago. You know my son Mateo, aka Sharky. He can be a tough nut to crack. I had to sort of bribe him to get him to let me wear this, and I'll tell you, he loves this jersey because I'm going to be completely honest. It's a little ripe right now because it is so comfy and it's breathable and it's a cool ass jersey. That we need to watch this jersey after I wear it for the rest of this segment. But look, we're here in Baltimore. I've been around lacrosse my whole life. This is a Will Haas jersey. Will Haas doesn't play for Denver anymore. He retired, but he is the head lacrosse coach at Loyola Blakefield, where I went, where my boys went, where my wife teaches. He is the middle school guidance counselor, and that's how my son knows him. He also lives 3 blocks from me. We are in the cradle of lacrosse. There's a lot of guys in the PLL who played at my high school or rival high schools for Ben. And lacrosse is it's hard to grow up around here and not be around lacrosse. No guys who played professionally, what have you. So we are going to be setting the table for PLL games. It's going to be on Wednesdays moving forward. Ben and I have done the work. There's 4 games this weekend. They're right in our backyard at Homewood Field. If you're in Baltimore, get a ticket. Go down there. You may see me. And Beltway Ben, we're going to get it started with the first match. Oh, well, we're going to get started with Denver and Utah. So this game is on Sunday. It'll be part of the Sunday doubleheader Saturday, doubleheader Sunday. This is how I broke this game down, Ben. I'm going to go under the 21.5 goals here. And this actually is an official play for me. So I'm going to put out my lax helmet that doesn't quite fit my fat head. We've got props. We're playing this on the under. I have bet this at minus 115. Look, Utah's the best defense in the league. They're 3-0 to the under. My Outlaws are 2-1 to the under. Archer's games are averaging just 18 goals. Again, number 1 defense in the PLL. They're allowing just 9 goals a game. Next closest team is allowing 11. So that's a huge difference. Number 2 in save percentage are the Archers. Outlaws games are averaging just 21 goals, so that's slightly under this. They're allowing just 11 a game. So these are 2 teams, right? 2 defensive-minded teams together. It's not that different than any other sport if you're new to lacrosse. Like, that's a trend I'm going to lean into. Like, the Outlaws have only scored 9 goals in 2 of their 3 games. Utah's keeper, Brett Dobson, number 2 in the league in save percentage. And Denver is an inefficient offense. Right, they're number 2 in the league in shots taken, but they're last in the league in scoring percentage. So I'm looking at that. I'm looking at the quality of the goalie. I'm looking at the trends here, and I'm going under. Anything about this game stand out to you, bud?
Yeah, you talked about the under. I'm on the under as well, but you can get 22.5 at DraftKings.
Okay.
So I went with under 22.5 at DraftKings at minus 120. You talked about it. I mean, Utah's probably the best team in the league here, and it's because of their defense. It's not because of their offense. They have the best scoring defense in the PLL. And these teams combined are 5-1 to the under. And you talked about Utah's goalie, but Denver, Logan McNaney, who Maryland people are familiar with because he was the goalie at Maryland the last few years, won a national championship there. He had 14 saves last weekend, and now he's closing in on Chris Kavanaugh from Notre Dame for the PLL Rookie of the Year, right? Like, he held Philly to 7 goals. That's a team that combined for 30 goals in their first 2 games. This is a Western rivalry. Expect a physical matchup, but I do like the under. And like I said, 22.5 on DraftKings where you get it.
Yep. And look, Ben and I did not compare notes.
No, we did not. We
never compare notes. So hopefully great minds think alike on that one. All right, where are we going next, Beltway?
Yeah, so we started on Sunday, but that's my mistake. We'll go back to Saturday here now. I'll start here. Like a prop here, and like just kind of what I've seen. Michael Sowers over 1.5 goals at minus 162.
I'm on a different one. But we're simpatico again. Go ahead.
He's over this in just 1 of 3 games this season, but he is due, right? This is year 5 for him now. He's minus 130 to win the MVP. He's been incredible. He's over this in 6 of 10 games last season. They had a lot of scoring from him. He's not a shot chucker. He's actually one of the best passers in the league, maybe the best passer in the league. But he was over this in 1 of 2 games against the Atlas last year. And there is a little bit of a competitive rivalry between him and Jeff Teat. Back-to-back 1 and 2 picks in 2021. That kind of stands out when you want to see a guy maybe put it on a little bit more in a rivalry game here. Again, he's only over this in 1 of 3 games this season, but he is due. He's one of the best players in the league, probably going to win MVP, like I said, at minus 130. Maybe consider betting that now before it gets a little out of hand, but I like him over 1.5 total goals.
Yeah, I'm on Sowers as well. I went over the 4.5 points. I got it at plus 112. Look, he had 15 points in his first 2 games, right? And then he came up against the Archers, and that can be a little tough. We just documented it's the best defensive team in the league. But he's averaging 4.7 assists per game. Okay, small sample size just through 3, but he might get us there on assists alone. The Water Dogs have a diverse offense. They're getting production from all over in the goal department. I like that. You could kind of think of Sowers here as a point guard a little bit, and how many guys, can convert for him when he does make those passes. I also like the Water Dogs on the money line. And I thought about, laying the goals, but like, if you look at the overall trends in the league right now, Dogs are 10-2 against the spread. And if you look at Philadelphia, yeah, they've owned this series, right? Like, they've covered in 8 straight against the Atlas. They've won 6 of those 8 outright. But Philadelphia's coach, 1-6 against the spread as a favorite. Do they call off the Dogs a little bit? Is there a potential for a backdoor cover? I think the Water Dogs are the best team in the league. I think they're going to win this game. But I my lean on this one is, again, Sowers over 4.5 points and the Water Dogs on the money line just to win this one. What you got next, Ben?
Yeah, we're going to go to the Cannons and Whip Snakes game, and going with the over 23.5 minus 120. I'm guessing maybe you're going to be on it, but both teams are 2-1 to the over this season. It's a homecoming weekend for the Whip Snakes. They combined for 26 goals last year in their 2 homecoming games, so they show up in these games. A lot of local kids who are local guys, which we've talked about. They want to do well in Maryland, and it's going to be a nationally televised game, 7 p.m. on ESPN2. You got to imagine these guys are going to be tuned up. If we can get 13 to 14 goals from them, I'm confident we'll cash the over with the Cannon. Just get us to 11 to 12 from them. So I do like an over here, 23.5 at minus 120.
We are simpatico yet again. I like the over here. You said it. The Whip Snakes are going to put on a show. This is Mesopotamia for lacrosse. We are in the cradle of civilization. It's a homecoming. It's a historic field, one of the most historic places in the lacrosse landscape in this country. I expect them to put on a show, and I expect Boston to have to keep pace and to run and gun as well. Like, Boston's only under once. Take a wild guess who that was against. Yeah, Utah, the Archers. We've documented great goalie, great defense, right? Defense is their hallmark. But I think this is going to be a more wide open game. You look at the Whip Snakes, 28 total goals in each of their first 2 games, and now they get to come home. Whip Snakes lead the league in 2-point goals. That's another way that we can get over here. Think of a 2-point goal as a 3-point shot. And look, there's volume from both these teams, right? These teams are 3rd and 4th in the league in shots attempted per game. So, Beltway, Ben, we are simpatico again. Again, not checking notes. This is just us doing our caps. Final game of the weekend, and this is where things get a little tricky in the PLL if you're not familiar with it. So, the Whip Snakes will be playing for the 2nd straight game, and they're going to be playing against Carolina. a chaos team that's, I don't think, as good as the Whip Snakes. And if we're playing futures here, I would like the Whip Snakes to win the PLL way before I would put anything on the chaos. However, Carolina is coming off a bye, and so they've got an extreme, like the NFL, they've got an extreme sort of health and rest benefit here. And the Whip Snakes, after playing what we think is going to be a high-scoring, up-tempo game against Boston, have to turn around and play again the next day. How's that worked out for teams in the league? Well, the homecoming team is 0-3 to this point. I mean, that's a shocker. Carolina did beat the Whip Snakes 10-9 last year. And if you look at this series, right, it's 7-2 to the under in their last 9. So, and you're looking at a chaos team that's number 1 in the league in save percentage. Austin Kaut, their goalie, Google him, K-A-U-T. You could find him scoring goals as a goalie. 71.4% save percentage, best in the league. So how am I going to play this? Much like an NFL game. If you think the total might be low, and if the trends are there, and the underdog is coming off a bye with extreme rest and health advantage, I'm going to take those points, right? So give me the plus 1.5. That's my lean on this game. Do I think the Whip Snakes probably win? Maybe, but I'm going to go ahead and say you got to beat me by 2, given all those factors I just talked about. What about you, Beltway Ben?
Yeah, this is the first one we're going to go opposite. I'm going to go with the Whip Snakes on the money line. It says plus 124 on the graphic, but
well, we could both win. We could both win.
Yes, we absolutely could. And as you said, trends point to a loss for the squad celebrating their homecoming. No team has won the second game of the weekend. All 3 have won the first one, but no team has gotten swept either, right? Like I said, all the teams won game 1. And when you look at that matchup for the Whip Snakes in game 1, we kind of touched on it. Like the Boston Cannons look like they could be undefeated coming out of last weekend. They dropped one, but I do think they're the better team than the Whip Snakes. So I think the Whip Snakes drop the first game, but come back here and win. I know it's physical. Playing 2 days in a row, it's tough, especially playing a night at 7 and then 2 the next day. Not an easy thing, but the Whip Snakes have dominated the chaos. 7-2 since 2020. And the chaos, like, I don't think their offense is enough, averaging just 10 goals a game. I'm going to go with the Whip Snakes on the money line at minus 110.
Yeah, I mean, look, you could also look to play this on the under as well, and maybe you want to wait till Sunday. The weather around here has been nuts, but I do think it's supposed to be pretty hot and muggy this weekend. Now, does a storm come through early and cool it off? I don't know. But this might be one, like, personally, I'm going to be, like, waiting a little bit, getting into Sunday. I want to watch that Whip Snakes Cannons game, right? And then I want to see how physical was that game, how up and down was that game. And then, again, if we're talking about the kind of heat and humidity that we can get in downtown Baltimore, playing on an AstroTurf field in the middle of Baltimore City, might be a day for the under as well. Maybe the Whip Snakes just, try to cut the pace a little bit and win a low-scoring match. Well, Beltway Ben, I'm fired up to watch these games this weekend. I'm going to do whatever I can to get down to Homewood Field, although we got a crazy weekend here for us. Ben and I will be back tomorrow morning, giving you the rest of our favorite bets of the weekend. We're going to do a special stream, probably about an hour, maybe a half hour before the NBA Finals on Sunday, getting ourselves set for the last NBA game of the year. And yeah, check out the PLL. Check out their gear. Again, come on. You can't get any better than this Outlaws jersey. Go Will Hoss. Go Loyola Blakefield. And we hope to make you guys money on WannaBet.